Welcome everyone back to another video. Today I'm going to be telling you guys my top 10 most unpopular opinions in the Premier League. This one could get a couple people unsubscribed, but let's do it. Number 1, Kane had a better season than Haaland. I know everyone thinks Haaland deserves a Ballon d'Or and everything, but if you look at what Kane's done, significantly worse team, only 6 less goals in the Premier League, more assists, and single-handedly got Tottenham in the top 6. What? He literally is the reason that Tottenham could have been relegated without him. I'm not even kidding. He just literally carried that entire team solely by himself. And I feel like he deserves way more credit. And he broke about 1 million stats this season. And he literally has scored over 20 goals for the past, almost every season he's been in the Premier League. He's just insane. He's actually just one of the best players the Premier League has ever seen. And the fact that people are just forgetting about it, it's just so frustrating to watch when, if you really look at it, personally, Kane had a better season than Haaland. I mean, Haaland did win the Premier League and the Champions League, but personally, if you're counting just the player, Kane definitely had a better season for me. Number 2, Darwin Núñez got absolutely screwed. The reason I'm saying this is because he had a decent season. It wasn't anything great. He didn't play much towards the second half of the season, but he got absolutely screwed by being compared to Haaland. I have no clue why he was ever even brought in the same conversation with Haaland. He was clearly never as good as Haaland, but now everyone thinks he sucks just because they thought he'd be as good as Haaland. It's really the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Just because City and Liverpool both got strikers, you just compare them? I just find that so stupid that they were ever together in one debate. Because obviously Haaland was better, and now that people thought they were on the same level, now that Núñez is obviously not doing as good and Haaland's doing great, that makes Núñez seem like he's horrible. But he's actually a really good player, and he started to have a rough beginning of the season, but as the season went on, he did pretty well, and I could see him being a big part in Liverpool's revival next season. Number 3, Casemiro carried United this season. I don't know where they would be without Casemiro. Same thing with Kane. I feel like although United had other players like Rashford and Fernandes did well every now and then, but honestly, Casemiro just did everything for him. He's a CDM, and he scored a ton of important goals and literally just brought the team together. They were just more of a team through him, and him being in the midfield, he was just brilliant all around the field. Saving balls on the goal line, scoring goals. He was just unbelievable, and I feel like he literally carried United. Look. Why do you have headphones? Where did this guy get headphones? What are you doing? Hey. Number 4. Emi Martinez is super overrated. People think he's one of the best keepers in the world, and although he's pretty good at saving penalties, I'll give him that, but he's really not that good of a keeper. He won the World Cup, but he didn't really have any unbelievable saves or games or anything. I mean, he made some important penalty saves, and that's about it. I feel like people just like him because he's just a jerk, and just his stupid mind games with the whole penalties, but I feel like that's the only reason people even bring him up in a conversation about why goalkeepers are good. He's just not that good. People think he's just one of the best goalkeepers of all time. It just doesn't make sense. Number 5, Alisson is by far the best keeper in the Premier League. I know many people don't think that. They think Ramsdale, Pope, Ederson, they're all great keepers. But Alisson is just a different breed. He's just insane. There's so many times this season where he just saved Liverpool, and he deserves so much more credit than he gets. And he's actually one of the best Premier League keepers of all time. I feel like he doesn't get what he deserves. It's just, he's just a great guy, and there's so many important saves he made for Liverpool this season that just went unnoticed, which is hard to believe. Number 6, Kane should be considered in the GOAT debate, I believe. He should really be known as one of the greatest of all time. People just undergo him just because he didn't win any trophies. Who cares? The greatest of all time debate based on individual performances. He is literally one of the best players. I think he might be one of the best players to ever be in the Premier League, if not the best. He's most likely going to break the all-time score record, and he's just insane. The way he moves off the ball and just makes combinations with his team, and he's on a horrible team. You look at like Messi and Ronaldo, their whole careers, except for maybe Ronaldo's first team, he's been surrounded by amazing teams. And I just feel like if they were put in that scenario that Kane was put in, they would not be as well known just because they didn't win as many trophies and didn't have as good of a team. But Kane is just unbelievable, and he really is one of the greatest players of all time. I don't think he is the greatest, but he should definitely be in the debate, I believe. I feel like it's got to go Messi, Ronaldo, Kane. I really don't see anyone after that. Number 7, Gareth Bale is the most misunderstood footballer of all time. Oh, poor guy. Literally, the guy is an absolute maniac. He's too good. He's actually just unbelievable. Literally from the start of his career to the end, he was just putting up numbers that no one else has seen before, and he's just doing insane stuff. But I just don't understand. He was absolutely brilliant for Tottenham. He goes to Real Madrid. He does amazing there, scores a bicycle kick in the Champions League final. And then they just don't play him for a bunch of seasons. Then he goes back to Tottenham on loan. He scores like 10 goals and plays like 2 games. And then he goes to the MLS and wins the trophy for them. He was literally a sub on an MLS team. That makes no sense. Literally 3 seasons before that, he was starting for Real Madrid. I just don't understand why teams just didn't play him. Because when he came on, he would just always perform, and it was so frustrating to watch. Number 8, Grealish was not worth $100 million. I know this might be kind of an obvious one to some people, but I know he's been starting to perform recently, but there's no way that guy's worth $100 million. He's not that good. He's nothing special. He's like not any better than anyone. He might be like the worst player on the City starting lineup, honestly. And $100 million for that guy? No. I mean, that's great business from Aston Villa, but he'll never be worth $100 million. I'm sorry. The guy's just not good enough. He's good every now and then and can provide some good assists and stuff, but he doesn't really, when I watch City games, I feel like he's nowhere to be found most of the game. Number 9, Eddie Howe is a better manager than Pep. I believe this because Eddie Howe has been at 2 teams, right? Pep Guardiola's been at 2 teams. The 2 teams Pep's been at, like prime Barcelona in prime City. Eddie Howe's been at Bournemouth, who started in like League 2, and he's been at Newcastle, who when he came in were like in relegation. The fact that he brought both of those teams to the Premier League and then the Champions League is unbelievable and something you've never seen any other managers done. Whereas Pep Guardiola just won the UCL for the first time with City, and he's literally had the best team in the world for the past like 3 years. And he also had prime Barcelona, which is just not even that hard to manage, honestly, when you have that team. Like, I feel like he's a great manager and he's had great teams, but what Eddie Howe has done individually as a manager is way more impressive than, I believe, what Pep has done. Number 10, Miggy is better than Encicio. No, I'm just kidding, because that's not an unpopular opinion. That's everyone's opinion. Thank you everyone so much for watching. This was such a fun video to make. Hope you guys are liking this series so far. See you tomorrow. Oh, Mom.